Now, a lot of people would think, especially if they're used to traditional media methods, that, well, if you get an ad on TV or you do run a newspaper ad, that's going to reach a lot more people, right?
Potentially. I mean, a lot of times people look at content and they look at actual stories more than they look at advertisements. So we would like to be able to present our message through a story or through something we do or through something we accomplish than just having an advertisement. Because people look at an advertisement and they say, this is just someone trying to represent one perspective or one view.
Right.
What we would like to do is put the work we do in the public square, have it be open to scrutiny and debate, and have it stand up to those things. And I think it's going to be far more credible and far more powerful when it's in that form, when it can be criticized and you can get two perspectives on it and you can see the strength of the content as well as the arguments.
I would just say, in looking at the changes in our culture and where things are going, I do a lot of research with working with teenagers and what is the direction, what is happening, and what they found is that there is a shift. TV is not as important as it used to be. Advertisements on TV are not as successful with things like TiVo, where people, they're not watching commercials anymore. And also their traditional forms of media, like television, with a show like, for example, Gossip Girl. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all, but it's a very popular. It's a very, I've watched a part of one show, but I've not gotten into it, but I know a lot of teens have. So, I try to know what's popular, what's in. Yeah. And with a show like Gossip Girl, when it first aired, the numbers for television were very low, yet it was a very successful show because it was one of the top rating, downloads on iTunes as far as TV programs. So with iPods and iPhones and all the different changes that are happening in the media world, really some of these traditional ways are not the most successful anymore. So I think it's probably good that that's where you're targeting, because it's really programmed for the future and where things are going.
Now, listeners might recognize you and remember you because you've actually been on the show once before talking about YouTube discrimination. Do you have an update on all of that, or to kind of bring our listeners up to date with why you were on talking about that, and then is there an update on that since we did that show?
A little bit. The reason why I was on is that YouTube, we have a YouTube channel, Live Action Films, and we release a lot of our video content on there. And some of our videos from previous work that we had done that involved basically making phone calls to Planned Parenthood saying, I want to make a donation specifically to abort a black baby or certain minority groups, and I'm doing it with racist intentions. It's one thing to say, you know what, this person's racist, but they're wanting to donate money, and just take the general money and say, yeah, there's a few bad apples out there. But what I found particularly appalling is that they would allow it to be earmarked as for a specific race and say, oh, that's no problem, we will make sure that this goes to abort, this whatever ethnic group. And there's lots of ethical things that come into play there, and it's very troubling. So those videos, not all of them, but some of those videos, about 5 or 6 of them, were removed from our channel for being inappropriate content. And we have pushed just to get correspondence with YouTube to say what specifically did how can we avoid this, because some of our videos are up, some of them are not, and they have been completely unresponsive with talking about anything. And we actually had someone that we knew heard about our story and cornered the CEO of Google, Dave Schmidt, at the Republican National Convention. I don't know exactly what he was there for, maybe talking about Google and media and stuff.
And why were you here?
Exactly, he's a huge Barack Obama supporter. So he said, oh, I'll look into it, something like that, when he was asked about it, to see what's going on there. And
apparently he never did.
Apparently he never did.
Or he did and left him off.
Exactly. And so at this point, we have kind of let it lie for a little bit, and we're focusing on doing other projects and other things. That's where most of our time and resources are going. Okay. But as we grow in size and strength in terms of the amount of supporters and followers, and our capabilities continue to just grow exponentially month on month, we will become a force that they have to respond to us just because of our sheer size and who we are. And so it'll be, I think, readdressed in the future.
Now, could that possibly be, is California a one-party state versus
Indiana is a two-party state.
Okay, so talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, in a two-party state, it means that basically, in a two-party state, you have to have both parties' permission to record a conversation.
So is California a two-party state then?
Right.
Okay.
So
What about Indiana?
Indiana is only one-party state. So we can go in there and legally record
Okay.
a conversation because we're the consenting party.
Do you think that might be one of the reasons they haven't gone and tried to like sue Lila because they don't have as much ground to stand on?
They wouldn't have a lot of ground to stand on, for one. But secondly is that suing turns into more of a media event.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they could win a suit or could force a video to be taken down, going through the whole, the video is going to be talked about, the video is going to be seen, that is going to be very, very damaging, because if the public looks at it, what's the real offense? It's like it's saying someone uncovered an injustice, and are we going to say, oh, darn it, they weren't supposed to use a camera to to film whatever.
Right.
You could say that about slavery, the Holocaust, whatever, and go,
Right.
that was illegal. That's terrible. Now we do research the laws. We do like to follow the laws.
Right.
And the stuff that that was done in California was done a few years ago before we were an official organization and things like that. So some things have changed.
Gotcha.
And how we operate has changed a little bit too.